have a very short time, and we had a wonderful dinner and pre-dinner and the okra thing. It was also great. I was thinking, what do I want to do today? We have a very short time. I wanted to introduce some Hunyuan herbs. Hunyuan is the style of Chinese medicine that I'm doing. And the style of Chinese medicine that I'm doing is very practical, and we like to use things that are very common. The whole idea behind our medicine is to make it very approachable, like bring it back to the people kind of thing. Instead of using all kind of exotic things that nobody has and you cannot buy anywhere, or special drugs that you can only find at the top of the mountain or the pharmaceutical company or wherever. We think like the medicine needs to go back to the people, and that's why I'm so, first of all, humbled to talk to all these people, great chefs and beekeeper and a farmer and a doctor and a dentist, and everybody's here like working the land. But I want to bring some herbs and to show you these herbs are what we compose in our language a unification formula. In order to be healthy, we have three components in Chinese medicine. We need a body that works well or works on time in harmony. We need to have an ability to recharge. Like we go to sleep out of energy, we wake up in the morning full of energy. This is called ability to recharge. And we need the heart to be very calm or at peace or happy or full of goodness. We say if a person has these three things, he's going to live to be 100 or 120 years, fulfilled life. So it doesn't matter, I mean, it's kind of a contradiction, but I would say that anyhow. It doesn't matter what diagnosis I'm getting. You have this disease, that disease, you're so sick. If my body has no pain and I live to be 100 and I'm very happy all the time, actually it doesn't matter what the disease they said I have or what drugs I need. So what we want to establish in our kind of medicine is to do things that are very practical, very easy, like using this kind of unification formula with herbs that are very common. Like we have Ceylon cinnamon, Vietnamese cinnamon, licorice root, prepared licorice that I bake in the kitchen with the blackstrap molasses from Whole Food, like organic molasses, ginger. We have angelica root, and codonopsis is called dangshan. So I want first, before we want to cook it and then drink it, that's what I normally do in my seminars. I talk and talk for 2 or 3 days, then I pull up a batch of herbs and we cook it and everybody drinks it. And all this information that we have, now it's in our tummy. And we're like, oh, that tastes really good. So I want to pass, maybe you can just pass some cinnamon. This is like organic Vietnamese cinnamon. Just pass and just take a nibble. Break a little piece. It's very spicy, so just take a little piece and eat it.
I like the treat.
Okay.
No, he gave me a piece the other day. It's delicious. But you can't eat that much.
Yeah, don't
It's
jump on
not
it.
like the cinnamon you buy in
It's
the
not the
Stop
stuff
and
from the
Shop.
supermarket. Yeah.
This is real cinnamon.
So what's in cinnamon, they have volatile oil. So this one needs to have at least 4%, which is a lot. And in the supermarket, sometimes you have 1%, so it's not so spicy. It just tastes cinnamon, but this has a lot of volatile oil.
You can't break it.
But just taste a little bit. At the end, we're going to dump all of them in the pot that we have already
I need to
made.
add water.
Yeah. Just make sure the water is boiling.
I'm going to get a bigger
Maybe
pot
you
of
want to
water.
pass this. This is a different kind of root. Just take a little bit. See
So
that
what do you
nobody
think about the water? What is this, Saigon?
Hour of water.
Vietnamese.
Vietnamese.
Well, my opinion, again, there are many different issues that we can encounter. Like GMO, the lady that was here before, it's amazing, the work they do against GMOs and things. So there are a lot of issues, the talk that you gave about GMOs. But I think, we try to keep it simple in Chinese medicine. It sounds a little bit too good to be true. Keep the heart happy, keep the body without disease, and live long, like recharge, that's all. It summarizes the whole picture. How to do it, each one of these departments has its things. Like how to do the heart happy, how to make the body without pains and aches, and how to make the body to recharge strong. These are 3 different things. These herbs talk about this issue of being able to recharge, to do unification. Unification means take energy from nature, like the food that we eat, and instead of having 1 ounce becoming our energy, you get 2 ounces becoming your energy. In other words, the same food, you can see some people, yeah, you know what it is. You can see when we age, you can see people that eat the same food, but they have less and less energy. So the name of the game with recharging and having a long life is how can I get the most energy out of what
That's not
I'm eating or
bad.
drinking, or it's pretty good.
No, it's not bad at
You
all.
don't have to suffer to get medicine. So this is our part of the strategy. You know, normally in Chinese medicine, the Chinese herbs taste really bad in China. And when I have patients come and they drink the Chinese teas that I give, they said, actually I like it. In the past it's always bitter and you think you want to throw up. And this kind of stuff, people, you know, when we cook it, we'll try it. We'll see. This is the Vietnamese cinnamon. You can see like this is,
Oh, go ahead.
you can try a little bit, this is prepared to
Oh,
the
I like
licorice.
that. It tastes like a tree.
It's a root. So a root is a part of the tree. But this is prepared licorice, and this is not prepared licorice. You see, it's just the dried root. It's also organic. But this is baked. You bake it overnight with blackstrap molasses. So I make it in my kitchen. It's homemade. This is not prepared. It's
So
just
you put
dried
a
root.
little of everything in each
Not a little bit of everything.
infusion?
In our case, because we're a big group, we're going to take all these bags. We dump them all in the pot. So I brought the group size bags, except the big bag. This big bag we're not going to drop.
So, tell them on the internet.
Yeah,
Where you
we're
went.
cooking the herbs in the pot, so everybody tasted the herbs, and then we put them in the pot, so after we have the little talk, we can drink it and not just talk about it, but also experience. That's the idea. So I just want to share with you, when we talk about the herbs, you know, just a little different perspective, how to look at medicine. When we look in Chinese medicine at our body, instead of just looking at it as a physical entity like a table, we say a body is a synchronization instrument. It's like a machine that helps us synchronize with nature. Like when we go to sleep with nature, the nature, you know, the sun goes down and we go to sleep with it, the sun comes up and we wake up with it and so forth. But we try to understand medicine from this kind of an angle. Instead of saying, look, I have a stomach, I have a lung, I have this, and everything is physical here, we say the body, all what it wants to do is to go into harmony with nature. So when we start using things from nature, like herbs or food or other things, colors or stones or whatever we want, we try to find a method how to improve the body's ability to harmonize with nature in different ways. So the way we look at food and herbs and what's the difference, I just explained it in a few words. We say when you ingest things that are even like food, like cinnamon, if you just take a little bit of it, the impact on the body is very minimal. In other words, after you eat it, just like food, we take energy from it and you don't see any actions in the body. Like you eat it like the dish we had before, there's a lot of energy in it, but you don't eat it and you get headache all of a sudden. Or you start feeling chills, or you start sweat. And of course, the more we take spices that we put in the food and we increase them, the more you can see that. You put like a lot of spice, all of a sudden you start sweating. But if you make it milder and milder, which for us will mean more and more food grade, you start seeing less and less reaction in the body. So I'll just tell you, from a couple of weeks ago when I was teaching a seminar in Denmark, and I started talking about the herbs, and they said, hey, here in Denmark, it's not allowed the Chinese herbs. Like we have drugs, but Chinese herbs are not allowed. And I said, these are not Chinese herbs, these are spices. So let's do spice medicine. We take the cinnamon, we take the ginger. In other words, but I think it's very relevant, and I'm just sidetracking for a second. You know, people, I think, need to kind of take power back to their hands, how to get healthy, and that's what everybody's doing here with the farm. Everybody here, I think, is like in that mindset. I want to take care of my own health. I want to grow stuff. You know, like stop just selling me things from centralized location, food that is processed, and medicine that comes from over there. Like we grow in the backyard, things that we can use and help us. And then in that way, you know, when I was teaching about the herbs in Denmark, I said, look, let's use spices, let's use cinnamon, let's use ginger. You don't have cinnamon here in Denmark? They said, oh no, spices is no problem. And you say medicine is the problem, but spices is no problem. And actually for me it's a tool to how to bring the medicine back for the people to have it, instead of saying, you know, it's just for qualified practitioners, licensed things. It's okay to have licensed medicine, and excuse me, the doctors here and the thing in the room. But I think for people to heal themselves, it's something that is very birthright kind of a thing. Like to have herbs from the garden or things is a birthright. It's not only patented thing, you know, what I call the I don't know even if I can say it, the institutionalizing of medicine. What's the right word in English?
That would be right. That's
To
right.
make an institution out of it, that only these people can sell it and this, and you cannot really get your medicine like this. Just go to the garden and get the medicine. So that's why we developed Hunyuan medicine in such a way, instead of using even in Chinese medicine, very exotic kind of things that you cannot find it, only buy it from a special vendor on the top of the mountain. We start using cinnamon and ginger stuff. Go to Trader Joe's, go this, you get it. The question then is how to understand it more, and not that it's bad, but I'm saying how to understand medicine more than just ingesting food, because spices is food. You put a little bit of spice in the dish, it's just food, and it makes the digestion really good, which of course has healing effect and so forth. But how to get someone that is really sick, and then use spices and get him really healthy, we can still use the spices, but the 1-2 grams are not going to do it anymore. So this tea that we're cooking right now, you see there's like a bunch of cinnamon and a bunch of this. It's not just like that nobody can find anywhere. We say when we ingest herbs, and that's how it's different than common food that we eat, the energy that it has and the punch that it has in it is rather strong. And of course, the stronger it is, the lower dose you can ingest. So if a herb has a very, very strong punch, you can only take 2-3 grams. More than that, the body can handle it. Other herbs, you can use 10, 20, 30, 40 grams, and it will work as medicine, and you're not going to go out of control. So of course, each herb has its right dosage to be proportionate. So this is some knowledge that a person should have. But how do we look at herbs? What do they do? Instead of just saying, I have in the cinnamon some volatile oil, or something, or some chemical, and the chemical binds with my brain somehow, we have a different perspective. We say, look, the body, the physical body, in our language, is doing what we call a unification and separation process. In other words, all the different pieces in the body, the hormones, the blood, the organs, they either help me wake up in the morning and start to do activities, or they help me take energy from nature and ingest it and start to bind with it. This whole process I just summarized in one sentence. What's the purpose of having a body? To be able to reach out to nature, take energy from nature, and then bind with it. Because otherwise I'm running out of energy instantaneously. 1-2 minutes, if you don't have energy from nature, you're out of it. So the body and the different components and the organs in it, they take energy and they bind with it. So how do herbs work? Again, I'm going back to that point. When we ingest herbs, the body ingests it, take the energy, but then it starts moving. Instead of being what we call neutral, like let's say I just eat rice. I eat it, ingest it, take some energy from it, but can't see anything. In other words, no headache, don't feel hot, don't feel red, don't feel cold. I'm just nourishing myself like this every day. But now we're talking about medicinals, meaning not just how to take energy to have more energy, how to change the body, how to alter the body. Let's say the body is really cold, you eat it, all of a sudden you're not cold. It's different than eating rice or things that are very neutral. So this is the idea of using very common spices, but just to know where they speed up the body, where do they slow down the body. For us, we say if the body is on time, not too fast and not too slow, it's just right, we call it. And in our language, Chinese medicine means proper medicine, or medicine of proper, medicine of the center. How is everything become proper the way it should be? So of course every herb has their action in the sense that they either speed up or slow down a part of the body. But what's more important for today is this idea of unification. It's not really how to restore the body's harmony. For this we need to learn a little bit, like a few days or a few weeks or months, like which herbs do exactly what. But what I want to talk today briefly in a few minutes before we drink the tea is this idea of unification or recharging. Aside from what I just mentioned before, the body being on time or not on time, which means I have pains and aches or not. Another thing that is most crucial for our life is how much we can recharge. Little kids recharge very strongly and they have a lot of energy even if they eat a little. Older people, and the older we get, we recharge much less. We can eat a lot and we have a lot of food on the table, but we're still very tired tomorrow. We can't jump like little kids no matter what. So for me, like the name of the game is very simple. How to get this recharging to be as strong as possible. Unfortunately, we all have to get old, but if we can get older later, is better. It's not like we're not going to get old. I just want to live as long as I should instead of less. And recharging is a crucial component in it. So what we devised, and we really didn't invent it, but took ideas from Chinese medicine over the last couple of thousand years. In their ancient language, they used to call it how to submerge the dragon in the water. In other words, how to take the heaven principle and to submerge it in the body. How to take this energy from the universe and then make it part of the body. This is what happens when we're alive. Take energy from the outside, from the fruit, from the vegetable, from the air, from wherever. And then I have more, I have more, I have more. This is called in ancient Chinese language to submerge the dragon. So today we don't say the dragon. People look at me, start laughing at me. What dragon? Where's the dragon? Just say how to make more unification, how to unify with energy more efficiently. So at the end I'm 50-year-old, but then I start to be like 40. And if we can do that, I think it's amazing. So what we do, the way we devise it, is use different herbs that start to help the unification process. In our language, and I didn't speak about it much, we call it the right side of the circle. If on the left side of the circle we create separation, like we wake up and things like that, and the heart start to move, or the emotions start to discharge, the right side of the circle means how do I take energy from nature, from breathing, from eating, from drinking, and I start to bind with it together. This is called bringing energy from nature into the body. This for us we call the right side of the circle, like how energy goes back in. And the herbs that we're using here, like the cinnamons, which are spicy, but they have direction of moving the energy towards the body, towards the center of the body. You have many other herbs, when you ingest them immediately, the energy stayed on the outside. They actually don't have this action. There's also other kinds of cinnamon that are used today. They don't have this action. So we use a special kind of cinnamon that they are very spicy, but you eat them and the heat doesn't go up to your head and you don't get red in the face. The heat goes into the body, and if you add to it baked licorice that I showed you, this prepared licorice, it has what we call a submerging effect. I have patients that drink this unification formulas, a lot of cinnamon for months. They never even once felt hot. And it's cinnamon and hot and ginger, all this stuff. But if you don't have the submerging effect, you drink it for a few days, all of a sudden you start feeling hot, you're getting sweaty, or it means the energy starts to stay on the outside. When we start getting that kind of effect, that the fire goes into the body and being submerged, like disappear. I'm not hot. This is when you start seeing people that, for example, feel cold all of a sudden and they start feeling comfortable. They don't feel hot. I don't know if you ever encountered, especially with women, when we get to middle age and older, always kind of on the chilly side for years. And they drink this formula for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Actually, I don't feel cold anymore after many, many years.
That's good.
The good part of it also, when you drink it for some time, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then we stop drinking it. It's not like vitamins. For months and months later, still not feeling cold. So it's different than the idea of just you take it, and when you take it, it makes something. The idea of unification formula, this is what I want us all to taste, is to strengthen the body's ability to harvest energy from nature. It's not that the energy is in the herbs. It's rather it strengthens the body's ability to do its job, to take energy from the air, from the food, from wherever. That's a different concept than just say, well, maybe there's energy in the herbs. So, which means as soon as you don't drink it, it's not there. So I'm completely against this taking, again, I don't want to offend anybody, taking vitamins all our life, taking these pills all our life. We really just need to eat food all our life. And if the body's on the decline, there's methods just to bring it up, to strengthen it. But it's not like that we need to be on it all the time. You know, something needs to sell all the time. This is the idea of unification formulas. How to get the body strong? The next question will be, well, how do you keep it strong? That's already a question about the heart. Like how to keep the heart to preserve energy, how to tap into the heaven without medicine. That's maybe for the next talk. But some people are already asleep. But I want to leave some time for questions.
No,
But this
no,
will
no,
be
you're good.
I'm not sleeping, it's
You're
okay.
okay. You just keep going. Because we got like 20 minutes for the tea,
Oh, we have 20
right?
minutes?
I don't know how long the tea takes.
So this is the unification herbs, is how to get the body's unification ability, how to get young. Let's just speak in regular English. How to get young again. Young means to recharge really strong. I eat 1 apple, I get 5 ounces of energy instead of 1 ounce. Of course, the quality of the food is very important. So if the food is terrible, you can be really strong, but I'm not sure it's really good. But it could also be that the food is super, super good, but my body's unification ability is very, very weak. Even it's good that the food is good, but I need to bring my body to be stronger first. That's the idea of having medicine versus just eat. Sometimes I have people that come to me and they already have a big problem, meaning the body is already off in a big way. And they say, well, should I start eating organic? Organic you should eat all your life. But when you're very sick and you just eat well, sometimes this does not do the job. If we have doctors here, they could testify. I mean, you can eat healthy, you should always, not just when you're sick, always eat healthy.
It's not going to fix it.
But this is what medicine is for. Medicine is to try to fix it, but not to live on it. We don't take herbs to live on them. That's, I think, the fallacy that is propagating today. There's all kind of herbal supplements. Just take it all the time. It's nice bottles with nice labels on them. There's a picture of an apple. When you look inside, there are no apples in the bottle, but it looks on it like it's an apple. But for us, I think you don't need to make the difference between food and this. But more important, I think, and this is a little bit off from the herbs, if you want me to continue a little bit, is to try to remedy the heart a little bit and make it. Should we say a few words about it? This is very, very strong. Mm-hmm. Instead of talk a lot about it, maybe I want us just to practice something while we're waiting for the herbs. The herbs are going to help our body to recharge a little bit. But how do we make the heart strong? Not waste energy and tap into a source of energy which is really strong. We call it bringing the energy back to Dantian. Dantian is this area in the lower abdomen. So let me just explain it in 1-2 minutes and then we'll practice something. How about that?
Sounds good.
We say after we are born into this world and we cut the umbilical cord. Any other guests?
I think it's probably my son.
Alright, but I need focus here. Everybody's falling asleep. We'll do it in 2 minutes when we start
Nobody's
exercise.
I'm awake.
No, I'm not falling asleep.
Okay. When we come into this world and we cut the umbilical cord, I think I explained it last time a little bit, our heart moves into what we call a state of dichotomy, or discharging a desire. I want it, I don't want it. I need energy, I don't need energy. This is the basic thing that allows us to realize that I'm running out of oxygen, so I'm breathing. Then I have a lot of oxygen, then I breathe out. Then again, I don't have energy, I have to breathe in. This is like on autopilot, that the heart has to move. Says, not enough, go. Yes, enough, relax. Not enough, go. Yes, from before birth, we didn't have that too much. When we're inside the uterus and everything comes on its own through the umbilical cord, we don't have to discharge the heart. The energy comes to us. But when we go to the world, we have to always start to discharge the heart, which is fine. That's how we live. We breathe, we want to eat, we're hungry, that kind of thing. But what happens is that we all, normally as we grow older and we have problems, and our spouses and neighbors and work colleagues, everybody is hassling us, and we're always suffering, and the heart is getting larger and larger. I don't know if you encountered it, but I did. Everybody's giving us trouble all the time. The banks and the doctors and who knows what.
The spouse.
The spouses, yeah, there you go. What we do in this practice, though, is try to go beyond this heart dichotomy to a different place, to a place where the umbilical cord used to connect. The way we do it, and it's very simple. It's not so sophisticated or difficult, but it's very simple, but it's very deep. If we practice it, it's very useful and can help people live very, very long. We breathe in, we put the hands on this where the umbilical cord is. Both hands, one on top of the other. And we breathe in, we breathe out. So far nothing happens. We do it all the time. We breathe in, we breathe out. We breathe in, like I want to breathe, so I breathe in. I want to breathe out, so I breathe out. But not when I finish breathing out. There's a second that I make it 2-3 seconds. There's 2-3 seconds that I don't want to breathe in or breathe out. In ancient Chinese classics, it's called the 5th beat. There's 2 beats when I breathe in, 2 beats when I breathe out, and then there's a 5th beat. It's not this and not that, it's somewhere else. I call it, in our language, we call it embryonic. This beat is like connected to this umbilical, where the umbilical used to be attached, where we used to be attached to our ancestors, to our mothers and ancestors. So we breathe in, We breathe out. The hands are on dantian, on this umbilical cord, and then I put all my intention here in this area, below my hands, and I'm counting 1, 2, 3 without breathing, and then I breathe in. I breathe out, and then I bring my intention again to this area. 1, 2, 3. Then I breathe in. Breathe out. This place where we don't breathe and our intention is in dantian, we start counting the minutes that we're adding to our life. When we breathe in and out, it just sustains us now. I'm breathing, I want to, I don't want to, I want to, I don't want to. We need to start getting energy from somewhere else. In China, this is for many, many hundreds and thousands of years in China. How to do embryonic breathing. We need to breathe all the time. But then how to bring the energy through this again. How to connect to this. When we connect to this, in ancient Chinese language, it's called the Tai Chi principle. It's the universal energy is actually connected here. Connecting to the ancestors and my mother and grandmother and all this. We cannot do it all the time. I can't really stop breathing all the time. If I stop breathing for a short while, that's it. Without oxygen, I can't do it. But the question is how to bring someone who's 40, 50, or 60 years old to be like 50. From the food and the herbs, we can do something. Good food is great. Some unification herbs to get more cinnamon and get the recharging is great. What else? What's more? We breathe, then between breathe and dantian. Now this seemed like something very simple, almost, what is it? It's nothing. But think about it. Let's say someone is getting you really upset. And it says, Vivian, your organic veggies are the worst. All of a sudden, because Vivian is working really, really hard, her heart is going to discharge or fire back. Even if she's going to be composed, the heart is going to go out. This energy goes right out of the center, right out of this place, and disappears. In other words, we just lost some life. But if the same thing has happened, someone say, Vivian, let's say not pick on Vivian, let's pick on him. He says, hey, your honey, which is great, organic, but I hate it. All of a sudden you feel the heart wants to go out, and you do this. And you go to dantian and the energy does not go out. Not only that you're now going to start to recharge more, also the other person that has negative heart and he discharged bad energy, he has to come back. So you became a doctor, we call it a heart doctor. And just by breathing this, and bring to dantian. But of course this skill need to exercise. So it's like, when we want a far jump or high jump in the Olympics. It's not enough to say, hey, I want to jump really high. You go every day, you practice, then when someone comes to push you, the heart doesn't come out. His heart immediately, or her heart, comes right back in. If we have spouses that we are fighting with, that's the first person to start to practice. The spouse is shouting at you, why didn't you take the garbage? Dantian. We call it dantian breathing. But you'll see there's a miracle, because normally we used to fight for a day or two on the garbage. Now it becomes 1 hour, then it becomes 1 minute, then it becomes 5 seconds. We call it, in our language, we call it Shinfa practice. We say, not only that I help myself, it's not like a selfish thing. Like I'm calm down, serenity now, it's just me. But the job finishes when the other person dissolves and becomes happy.
Oh.
And there's only one way to do it. You have to make your dichotomy very small, think in dantian, and it's very simple. There's nothing, we don't need to do anything with the hand. You just look, breathe in dantian, and you find center, the other person dichotomy start to get smaller. First in an hour, then in 10 minutes, then in 1 minute, then in 10 seconds. When you can do it in a few seconds, you're the Dalai Lama. He gets really angry, and he's like, shh. And the person is already not happy. So this we call in our language giving life all around. Like my life becomes stronger, the other person's life becomes stronger. This is medicine. It's not always drugs, things, not even herbs. This is medicine, how to make life longer. So remember I started by saying we need 3 things. The body needs to be on time, so no pains and aches. The unification needs to be strong, so I can recharge as much as possible. Another day, another year, another year, another year. But at the end, without the heart being in harmony, there's always loss of energy for me, for them, for everybody. These 3 things, if we do it, we say medicine is complete. this is medicine. There's nothing else outside of it. Happy heart, strong recharging so I can live many years, and body without pains and aches. All the other diseases, you have that disease, this disease, take this drugs, that drugs. I don't know. It does not belong to my curriculum. I mean, I'm not saying there isn't, but I'm not dancing that dance anymore. Yeah. So this is that talk about the heart. Do the heart, do unification, herbs, cinnamon, ginger. But the reason that I showed you the herbs, it's not really you need a doctor. Get some cinnamon, get some ginger, get some licorice. These three together is minimum unification. Everybody can buy it everywhere, anywhere.
Does it matter what you hear Vietnamese cinnamon, you hear, various kinds of cinnamon? I mean, does it really matter? You said that some create
Stronger
Stronger ones.
4% versus
Smell the
1%.
aroma, the ginger, cinnamon.
So nice.
Yeah. And no, but there are differences. Let me just answer. There are differences in cinnamons.
Mm-hmm.
What you want to find out when you taste it, first needs to be spicy, then needs to be very sweet, and should not taste like a piece of wood.
Say, well, thank you
No,
so
no
much.
problem.
Amazing.
When you're driving, just go on Facebook. It's live.
The whole Dantian, I love that. Thank you
Sure.
so much.
Thank you for the
Thank you,
okra dish.
Sue.
I'm still having it in my dantian. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks.
Bye,
guys.
Sue. Thank you so much.
The Vietnamese cinnamon was
Oh, I'm
softer
sure
and
we still have
easy
it.
to
Okay,
nibble,
take five.
and the other one was more.
No, the harder one is the
The harder.
Vietnamese. The one that looks like paper is the Ceylon.
From Sri Lanka.
Oh, okay.
The Sri Lanka.
Can you send me an email, like, of all the stuff that maybe we can buy or where to buy it? Would you mind?
Yeah, definitely.
Post it?
You can share it.
Yeah, we'll share it on
So the
Facebook.
quality is paramount, especially when you do herbs a lot. It's very important to know the source and the quality. And it's also like all these herbs that I brought are organic except one which is not organic. The Ceylon cinnamon is not organic. And I have organic Ceylon cinnamon. But the organic one that they produce today has no punch. It's like you eat a piece of table.
They
cut it with sawdust.
So,
Yeah, so organic, but it's no punch. There's no medicine in there. So I have to.
round one was
That's the
Ceylon.
Vietnamese, no.
Oh, that's what I thought, but then this one was.
That's the
more-
Ceylon.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
No, I
looks
like
like
this one.
Yeah, so the Vietnamese is sweeter.
Yes.
The Ceylon cinnamon behaves differently. When you eat on a big enough piece,
Oh.
it tastes like paper. You
Yeah.
suck it, all of a sudden it starts to be spicy. It has a delay effect which is very
So you
unique.
could put it in tea and it would open up then when it got into
Yeah,
it?
if you boil it enough, it will come out and you'll taste
Yeah.
it. But it's very different, it's a little milder. The Ceylon cinnamon, the
Mhm.
Vietnamese has
Yeah.
much more punch. But again, for unification, you need the licorice, ginger, and cinnamon. If you just put cinnamon or just ginger, it's not going to cut it. It's not unification. You need
Say, can you repeat one more time that?
licorice, the cinnamon, and ginger. You
For
need three things
unification.
to get some unification effect where the fire is being submerged.
Oh.
Otherwise, you eat a lot of cinnamon and you start feeling hot.
Can you wait 2
The
seconds?
fire is not being submerged, and that's not called unification. You
We're
need to
having
eat
three.
these three at least. But the truth is that the licorice needs to be prepared. If we had here also not prepared, it does a little bit different, something. But the prepared one means you need to get blackstrap molasses, and you dilute the molasses like 2/3 of hot water, and it becomes like brown water. And let's say a cup of molasses, diluted molasses, you need like 5 pounds of licorice root. And you mix it together, you shake it together, and then you bake it at 275 degrees for an hour, and you leave it in the oven for overnight to dehydrate it. But you don't want to put it on a high heat, it's going to burn and it's not good. So you just need to dehydrate it on low
Do
heat.
you have a book or like a little
I have a few.
a pamphlet? No, I know you have. I know, because I have your book. But like a simple one where like
I have some handouts from
recipes.
I have like online course for practitioners, and we have handouts, and I have one specific for the herbs and the recipes, and I can forward to you.
oh, that would be great. But she needs to leave and she really wants to taste the tea before
Yeah.
she goes.
Let's go for
But
it.
do we have to, can you show us, like, do we have to like strain
You
it?
have to drink straight from the pot. No, just
Take that
let's
with
take the camera.
you. Take the internet with
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Take the